A bill introduced in Tallahassee would make it mandatory, yes, mandatory for public school students to get the HPV vaccine.
The HPV vaccine protects from the human papillomavirus. The CDC says HPV can cause cervical, anal, throat, neck, and vaginal cancers. 10 News reporter Josh Sidorowicz has a closer look at the controversial proposal and why some parents are not happy about it.
All right, Stella, a little pinch.
Should a recommendation now be required? The Florida Department of Health strongly suggests parents vaccinate their children between the ages of 11 and 12 for HPV. The argument? To protect from a virus contracted through sexual activity, which can cause cancers. HPV is the primary cause for cervical cancer.
The preference is to start the vaccine series before someone would be exposed to the HPV virus.
But under a new bill being floated in Tallahassee, that suggestion would become standard.
We're close to eliminating a cancer, and the first cancer we're going to see eliminated is cervical cancer. And the way to do that is to get as many people vaccinated as possible.
It is a promising proposition for Dr. Anna Giuliano with Moffitt Cancer Center. She points out that Florida, with one of the highest rates of cervical cancer in the nation, also ranks among states with some of the lowest rates of men and women being vaccinated for HPV. It's estimated up to 80% of sexually active adults are infected with the virus, but Giuliano says most don't even know. And if the body doesn't clear it up on its own, that is when it can turn into cancer. As a mom, she says her teen son has received the vaccine, but for this mom,
I'm very concerned.
it is a mandate that would come with more risk than reward.
My children have genetic variations, MTHFR gene variations, that I'm actually able to get medical exemptions from vaccines for.
She says her own children's adverse reactions to vaccines give her pause. She is not opposed to them, she says, but believes it should be a choice for parents.
If we cannot make that decision, that's a major problem. We should be able to say yes or no when there's a risk.
Now, the CDC maintains the vaccine is safe, but the overwhelming response that we've seen from many of you since we posted this to WTSP.com is similar to that mom. Parents, at the very least, want an option. Now, the state already mandates that public school students be vaccinated against several diseases like mumps, like tetanus, rubella, polio, and like in those instances, this bill will allow for the same exemptions for either a medical or religious reasons. But you know, Allison, the mother who you heard from in that story, she said that that medical exemption she did ultimately get for her children, she said that was extremely difficult to actually obtain that.
And clearly this is an issue that has people fired up on both sides of this, so much conversation. But how realistic is it that this is actually going to pass? You
know, lawmakers, they did try something similar here in Florida back in 2011. It failed. And at this point, there are just 2 other states in Washington, D.C. that have an HPV vaccine mandate like this. So I was a betting man. At this point, it's more unlikely than likely. But a lot of people watching this closely, we will also be watching.
All right. Thanks, Josh.